Hello, and welcome back to the studio. It's springtime, and many people are getting ready for art shows and art fairs. Artist etiquette revolves around professionalism, the respect for the venue where they're showing their art, and also the respect for other artists that are also showing their art. And I'd like to share 10 top things each artist should adhere to when they are in an art show. So let's begin. The first thing that an artist has to do, just basic, is to understand the rules of the show. Each show is different, so try to read all the consignment agreements, understand the contract, and the policies that the venue requires of artists. I think this is very important, and once you understand that, try to abide by it. The second thing as well is to arrive early. Announce that your booth is open for business. It gives a nice welcome, especially to early patrons, because there are some patrons there that are right on the dot. So it always is good that you arrive early, your booth is set up nicely, and lights are open. The third etiquette is greet your visitors. Engage with them, but don't pounce on them. Don't be like hovering over them because that would be a little bit intimidating. So greet them with a smile or say hello or good morning. Maybe make some small talk, and then you can let them know that you are around if they have any questions, and you can just move off to the side. I think this will allow your visitors or your patrons to have a nice viewing of your work without you hovering over them. I think it provides them space and it provides you space. And when they do have questions, that's when you come in to answer and let them know exactly what your painting is about or whatever questions they have. The fourth etiquette tip is to greet your neighbors. Usually in art stores, you're beside neighbor A and neighbor B, and even across you, there would be neighbor A, B, and C. So greet them before the mad rush, introduce yourself, and perhaps you could make a friend. It's always nice to talk art with other artists, and it's always nice to understand their process. It's nice. It's a community, right? So always say hello, greet them, and introduce yourself to them. I think it would be a great start to an art show, especially if your art show is throughout the weekend. You're going to be neighbors, might as well have fun together and get to know one another. The fifth thing I'd like to recommend is that if you're chatting with your neighbor and you're in deep thought, but then a client of your neighbor perhaps wants to inquire more about her artwork or is a potential buyer, I would recommend that you excuse yourself and leave their booth so that they have some privacy, so that your neighbor and their potential client can now talk about the art piece and you are not there. You step away from the environment. I think that's really, really good etiquette because you don't want to be in their space as they're negotiating. Likewise, also in tangent to this is that when you have your own clients and you're looking at your work in your booth, I wouldn't go outside of your booth and hinge on your neighbor's side. Try to talk to your clients within your booth, within your space. Don't go to your neighbor's side to look at your artwork, because this can potentially hinder viewers from seeing your neighbor's work. So you don't want to block your neighbor's booth while you're engaging with your clients. I think it's just good etiquette to stay within your space, maybe move back a bit, maybe move back to a little bit of the hallway area, and then so that your viewers can look at your piece from afar. But don't go to your neighbor's booth while looking at your artwork. It's just not a good thing, because they do not have the chance to show their work to potential clients coming in. The sixth etiquette rule is don't offer discounts. I know. Um, I think because in an art show, you kind of have to write in your contract what you will be selling. And within that list, you sometimes have to give the price so that the show conveners know how much you're selling that artwork for. So when a potential client comes in, you don't want to offer a discount because number one, your venue crew loses out on that. And you are also not keeping up to the contract agreements. Plus, it is not a garage sale. So value your work. This is your work. This is the fair value that you want for your artwork. So stay true to it and just keep it that way. The next etiquette is try not to eat in your booth. And sometimes you can get hungry and it's time for lunch. I wouldn't advise eating in your booth, like having a nice pasta or having a giant sandwich there. When you're eating in your booth, clients or potential viewers will not enter your booth to take a look at your artwork, because in their mind, they're giving you space so you can have your lunch or your snack, and then you might just essentially lose a potential sale. Perhaps excuse yourself from the booth, go elsewhere, go to a lunch or go to a cafeteria or wherever the venue is providing you areas to eat, and eat there. And then you can tell your neighbor next door to keep an eye on your artwork, right? So that's why it's always nice to have a good rapport with your neighbors, because if somebody's looking at your booth, then your neighbor could step in and say, so and so Marissa's just out, she's just having lunch and she will be back shortly. If you want, I can give you her business card, something like that. Make a friend and then cover for your friend who's now having lunch. The next tip, or a nice etiquette to adhere to in art shows, is to keep your space clean and welcoming. Try to keep it clean and organized and welcoming. I think that'll just show respect to the venue and respect for your viewers. The next etiquette tip is to dress appropriately. Even if this art show is by the bay or near a beach, I would still recommend that you dress appropriately and not in teeny tiny shorts or really, really skimpy tops, or for the men, no top at all. I think just showing a little bit of professionalism, cool and quality garment, um, just something comfortable yet appropriate for your environment. And finally, do not tear down your booth before the show is over. Normally, conveners will announce on the PA system when the art show is closed. So, even like, let's say your show ends at 5 or your show ends at 7 and it's quarter to 5 and no one's there, still keep your booth intact and do not tear down until they say the show is now closed and it's time for everybody to tear down. You never know if there are customers still looming around the area and they want to go and purchase your work. So keep it up until the show ends. You never know, you might have one last sale at the very nth time of the show. At the very end of the show, you get one last person running down the aisle saying, I want to buy your art. So try to keep your artwork up until the show ends. Well, those are my top 10 etiquette tips that I'd like to share to you when you're doing art shows, especially now that it's springtime and art shows will start revving up, you know, all through the fall and into early winter. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like this video, please give me a like. If you have a comment or you have any other suggestions to my etiquette rules, please leave them in the comment below. And if you want to receive more content like this, please subscribe. My name is Marissa Sweet. Thank you for joining me. Sweet out. Bye for now.